Now, ladies and gentlemen, throughout 2022, it's been no hidden fact or secret that the CSGO skins economy, as well as the marketplace, has been absolutely booming. This past year, being 2022, compared to any other year inside of CS ever since skins got added all the way back in 2013, has been by far the most profitable by a long shot. And well, in today's video, I thought it'd be pretty interesting and very cool to show you some skins that I picked up for an investment and also just a loadout for the time being. These are ranging from the M4A1S Hot Rod to Talon Tiger Tooths, revolver cases, and sports gloves, dating all the way back from a year ago today up until this current point. Now, some of these I did end up selling a little earlier on. The profit was cut short, but I thought it'd be a good history lesson for you guys to see how much these things have gone up. Also, you can come back to this in the future if you want to know how much things can go up in a year if we have a really good year, with player accounts booming, of course. Now, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to be using buff prices because I bought all these items specifically on this list on buff, so I can show you the before and after prices.
Now, today's video sponsor is, of course, Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is currently the easiest and also fastest way you can buy, but most importantly, trade your CSGO skins. All you have to do is make sure you have your trade link, and on your first trade, if you have a leftover balance, it goes towards your current balance that can be used the next time you end up trading skins. It has 3 ways you can inspect, but most importantly, has a very in-depth inspect feature that you can see corners on a karambit, for an example, that you can't really see otherwise unless you have the item in-game. If you end up topping up your balance, make sure to use promo code MANDO to get up to a 35% deposit bonus and a free $5 on the first trade.
We're firstly going to be starting off with the weapon skins that I bought for a play skins investment, but also just for myself. Now, a lot of these I did sell for quite a bit of profit, but there are some that I just bought, didn't end up liking, and I eventually sold them just a couple months later. And for the majority of items I sold earlier on, I kind of regret because they've gone up so much. And I was actually very surprised to see how much stuff I actually bought inside of CS this past year just on this alone, because this is not all my buff purchases either. Now, our first skin up here is actually the M4A1S Hot Rod for $161 I bought it for almost a year ago today. Now, I eventually sold this for a little over 500 on buff, close to 6 just a few months ago when the M4A1S was just absolutely booming up in price. The reason I sold it then was because the M4A4 was probably going to get buffed beyond par with the M4A1S. That was a big talking point throughout this year, which that kind of happened, but not really. And if I were to sell it today, it was 500, so it's actually pretty nice. If I were to sell it at 500 bucks now instead of the 550, I'd make $340 profit from just a year. That's actually pretty good for one individual skin. Now, our next skin up here is something I actually sold a little recently, and this was the Op Containment Breach. Now, I bought this in the field tested for 39 bucks about a year ago as well. This now sells for 51. Wasn't anything too crazy, but was a decent return on something I didn't really expect to go up too much. Now, the reason this is probably not going for too much is because that case isn't the most popular right now. This, in my personal opinion, is a very, very good looking op, especially for that price. With this case being rare, I could see this skin going up quite a bit in the next little while, especially because it wasn't unboxed a whole lot and still isn't today. Now, our next skin up here is the AK Fuel Injector Well Worn. I bought this and eventually bought a field tested one. Bought this for $50. I sold it a few months later to buy a field tested, but I sold it for $70, which was a $20 profit. This obviously being in the wildfire case is kind of crazy. The wildfire has had some insane hype this past little while, and all the other conditions went up as well. So I don't think those are the worst play skin investments either. Now we're on to the knives for today's list. And I honestly am the most surprised out of anything else on this list today, and just for CSGO investments this past year. Before 2022, investing in knives was kind of stupid. They didn't really go up a whole bunch until we started seeing hype, especially on some of the newer ones that were pretty decently cheap. Talon Tiger Tooths, I remember when they were not much more than 300 bucks, and now they've almost doubled up in price. But we're going to take a look at the survival knife Slaughter minimal wear for $150 I picked up about a year ago. Sold this for a $1.88 profit. Well, not a $1.88, $40 profit to be exact, but that's pretty nice, I would say, just for a cheap knife, especially being on that low tier. Our next knife up here isn't too big either, but it's pretty nice. Bought it at the time for $250 with a very nice fade at 95.6%, 0.02 float, factory new survival knife fade for $250. This now sells for $348. That's $100 sold profit, which is very, very nice. Had that for a little while. I enjoyed the survival knife, but also the Ursus. A lot of people don't really use them. They're a little on the cheaper end, but I think they're pretty nice for at least what you're getting. Our next knife up here is also a fade, this being the Ursus knife fade factory new for $369, 92% fade, so not the best, but this currently sells in the same fade condition or almost the same for $410 for a 94%. That's the closest one I could find. with the exact same float. Our next knife up here is the Butterfly Knife Urban Mass Field Tested Low Float for 355 bucks. This now sells for $455, and that would be $100 profit exactly. Now, I had this knife for actually a long time, and I did make that profit, which was pretty awesome. I just sold it off recently because I'm kind of in the mix of buying a new knife. I'm not sure what I want to do, but it was different. That's why I liked it. It wasn't anything high tier, wasn't low tier, it was kind of in the middle. And with that white finish, it wasn't looking horrible either. But for an investment, that was really, really insane. And obviously, it being a butterfly knife with those going up more and more throughout every single year, I thought that was crazy. Now, our next and final knife up here is the Talon Tiger Tooth Factory New for 413 bucks. Now, I only kept this for around 2 months, kind of got a little bored with it, and I just wanted to try it out before I said I hated the Talon. I don't like it. And I sold this for around 70 to 75 bucks profit just by holding the past couple of months. This was in the summer, end of spring type of thing in 2022. And these were the knives I was talking about. I was so surprised this profit on a knife like this being pretty new and pretty cheap not that long ago. Next up is, of course, gloves. Now, I've tried my fair share of gloves. Pretty much all of these I didn't make any profit on. Maybe a little bit, but I didn't hold them for very long. A few months back, I bought sports gloves, Omega's Battle Scarred, pretty decently lower to mid float, nothing great. These were 256 bucks. For the same float nowadays, I could sell them for 335. That's a $79 profit. Next is also a very low condition, low kind of value pair of gloves. These are the Sports Gloves Arid Battle Scarred Low Float for 165. They are now $245, and that's a profit of 80 bucks if I would have kept them. I believe I made 20 or 30 on them just by holding them for a couple months. Now, our next ones profit-wise are pretty crazy. I kept these for quite a little while as well with my Butterfly Knife Urban Mass. Thought they went pretty nice. These are the Sports Gloves Hedgemade's Battle Scarred, 287 bucks for a 0.56 float. That's actually pretty good for Battle Scarred on a pair of these where you can't really see much of the condition because it kind of looks like it's a part of the glove. But I end up selling these for close to $500, and that's $165 profit, which is actually pretty nice. And of course, our last and final pair of gloves here before we go into capsules and cases is the Amphibiouses. Now, these were Battle Scarred, of course, for 283 bucks, but a pretty low float as well, especially in that Battle Scarred condition at 0.48. They're about $100 overpay from the regular pair, even then at the time. Nowadays, these are fetching $462. I believe I made around $100, $120 profit on these, but nowadays, if I were to sell them at this current price from when I bought them at, that's $177 profit. So the gloves were pretty crazy, and same with the knives as well as the skins, but the knives and gloves I was definitely the most surprised on. Lastly is the cases and capsules from Stockholm 2021. Let's start with the capsules. I bought 200 challengers and 200 contenders from Stockholm 2021. Challengers and contenders were, of course, both 25 cents during the 75% off sale. That is a total of $50 each, $100 total that I spent on both of them. The challengers obviously went through and became a lot more popular by $1.50 at this point in time. But if I were to sell all my challengers capsules right now for $2.20, that is a total profit for 380 bucks. The contenders is the same deal for what I bought them for and how many, but $150 profit. That is very, very nice. Lastly, on to cases, the Chroma 3. I bought this at the end of 2021, the same with the Revolver, but the Chroma 3 was 12 cents. Now it is 68. If I were to sell them all at the current price, that's 56 profit sold per unit. The Revolver, 12 cents, now 45, had an all-time high of 50, almost pushing 60. That's 33 cents profit if I were to sell them at 45 cents, what they're at right now. Now, let me know what you guys think of all these cases for today's video. I'm definitely really surprised on all of these things, but specifically the knives. I never thought knives were going to be this profitable for CS, especially some of the newer ones in-game because they're unboxed so much more because it's cheaper to unbox them rather than an older knife, for an example, that's in the Chroma cases, the Spectrum, and so on. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your best investments for 2022 down below in the comments. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.